Coming up, I'll tell you where I've been since we last spoke, and I'll also tell you what I was asked by a healthcare professional, and it has to do with getting dressed and not about picking out my clothes. What do you think of the shades? Stick with me.
From Studio B in Swarthmore, this is iCantCU. Now, here's David.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of iCantCU, your window into a world where blindness doesn't dictate ability. My name is David, at David Benj on all the socials, and I really do appreciate you joining me for this episode, and I've got a lot of confusing thoughts about where this video is going to end up. Is it going to end up at iCantCU on YouTube, as well as being a podcast, or do I create an iCantCU podcast channel? Because I'll get into it in a minute, and it has to do with the smart glasses. Thank you, though, for joining me, and welcome inside Studio B. I have to tell you, to my right on a table is the giant Christmas pickle. It's about 3.5 feet tall. Hang on, I'll show you. This is one of Ziggy's favorite toys, but he broke it. He's bitten into it. It is a maybe 3.5 foot tall stuffed pickle with a Christmas hat on that we bought a year ago. He absolutely loves it. I'm going to put it back now. Hang on. I guess I should have squeaked it for you. But he put a hole in it, and when he puts a hole in it, he starts eating the insides. And that, of course, is not good for him. So Liz is going to try and fix it, or we're going to have to wait till Christmas to get another one, because we didn't pay a lot for that. It was only about $30. And looking around now, they're all well over $50. So we'll see if we can find him another Christmas pickle or something along those lines. If you're listening, go check out the YouTube video and see the giant Christmas pickle. I know I've posted pictures with him and that pickle in the past, but he is devastated every time he walks in here. He just sits and looks at the table and looks at the pickle on the table. So since we've last spoken, a couple of things have developed. One that is very troubling. My insurance, my healthcare insurance has, I don't remember what they call it, where a nurse will call from time to time just to check in, how are things going, so forth and so on. And this was the first time this nurse checked in, and she said, "Oh, why don't you write this down?" And I said, there's two reasons why I'm not going to write that down. The first reason is I can't really hold a pen for long. And number two, if I do write it down, I won't be able to see it. And she said, "Why?" And I said, "Well, because I'm blind." All of a sudden, the question started. How do you get dressed? I said, "What do you mean? How do I pick out my clothes?" "No, how do you get dressed?" She didn't care what I was wearing. And believe me, I know I've probably committed a few fashion faux pas in the past. I'm glad I've always put on the same colored shoes when I'm wearing not sneakers. But she asked me and wanted to know how I got dressed, which a couple of weeks earlier, I was on an episode of That Real Blind Tech Show. And that was one of the things that Janine Stanley was asked about her husband. How does he get dressed? And then the lady went into it, the nurse went into it with Janine, and then realized, wait a minute, Janine is also blind. So it's just unreal that someone in the healthcare profession, and I'm not talking about some orderly who's taking you from point A to point B in a hospital, I'm talking about someone who has the education to treat people with medicine and whatever else. And they are asking questions like, how do you get dressed? You know what I thought of? and if I was my friend Brian, I would have put the clip on, I wipe my own ass. But I know that probably wouldn't have sat well with this lady, so I didn't say it. But that's what immediately popped into my head from Big Daddy, from the Adam Sandler movie Big Daddy. And then the other questions came. Do you have steps in your house? I do. I have steps that come into the house. There's 5 in the front, 4 on the back. I have steps that go up from the main level to the second level. There's 13 there. I have steps that go from the main level down here to Studio B, which is 12. And how do you manage those? I said, what do you mean? I said, I walk down them just like you do. I don't understand these questions. And she asked a couple of crazy other nonsensical questions about, and to me, it was someone that has no idea what it's like to be blind or how to even help blind people. And that was so troubling, again, because we're not talking about just somebody out on the street, some random moron. We're talking about somebody that is educated in the healthcare profession. I'm not saying they're an accountant and wonder how blind people do stuff. This is a woman that works in healthcare every day. It is just unreal what people think and how people think of blind folks. And it is just so troubling to me. And I don't know how we show folks that, hey, we can do a lot of these things on our own. I'm not going to jump behind the wheel of a car and drive it somewhere. I wouldn't get far, believe me. And it would definitely end badly. And that has sat with me. That was going on 2 weeks ago now. And I talked to a couple of friends about it, and they couldn't believe that these are educated people. Now, that leads me into something else that is even worse than that. There are NFB members in the central Pennsylvania area who have had their children taken away from them. Why? Because they're blind. The father is totally blind. I'm not sure the wife's visual acuity. She is the one that works, though. So the father is the one that is home with the kids, usually during the day. So I was set to go out to Harrisburg on Monday. I'm recording this late on Monday night, early Tuesday morning. So yesterday, but the court case got continued to a date that is yet to be determined. So once that happens, I will go out there again to support these members of the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania. And one of the things the NFB has, they have these things called kernel books. I have a cabinet to my right and just down the wall from where the camera is that has a whole bunch of different stories. And they're little tiny books. They're, maybe 10-minute reads. And one of the stories we read since we came back from COVID at one of our NFB meetings was about a family who had their kids taken or questioning whether they could parent. And I thought, this is from a while ago. It doesn't matter. There are folks, other NFB members who have given birth and then not been allowed to leave the hospital with their child. And after about a week, it finally absolved itself of once she agreed to have somebody come and check on her. Another one, same type of thing. It is just unreal. And I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And it is just a constant battle. So you have, and maybe the people in children and youth services aren't as smart as someone like a registered nurse, but still, it is just unreal. And that's battles that we fight every day. And it is just unreal. Let's move on to happier topics. A week or so ago, I was down in Baltimore. The NFB of Maryland had what they call Crab Feast, and it's $80. We took the train down, me and a few other folks from the Philadelphia area. We went down there. It's all the crabs you could eat, and they just keep dumping them on the table in front of you. It is a great fundraiser for the NFB of Maryland. They had, I want to say it was 26 tables or so, 8 to a table, 26 tables. And there were other things to eat as well. They had a buffet where they had fried chicken and mac and cheese and salad and dinner rolls and some sort of crab soup. I think it was crab bisque. I don't eat soup, which Jane is trying to convince me it's savory tea. But I just, for whatever reason, I don't eat soup. But it was a lot of fun going down there. They do all sorts of fundraisers going on during the event where they do 50-50 drawings. And one of the things with the 50-50 drawing that I loved, and we will do at the NFB of PA State Convention coming up in November, they do a board of 50 numbers. They're basically Post-it notes with the color of the Post-it, and it's one color at a time, not that they mix them. So the first one I think was red. So it had an R and then it had a number from 1 to 50 on each. So R1, R2, R3, etc. and it also had it in Braille. So once they sold the board, the Post-its were $5 each. Once they sold all 50 numbers, they drew. The person who won got half, and the NFB of Maryland got half. And I really liked the way it did it. And they had people walking around throughout selling these things, whether you bought one. I usually bought twice. I bought $20 worth. So I bought 4 numbers. I didn't win this year. Last year I won. So I did that a couple of times. It was just a lot of fun. It's a gathering where there are folks. I was down in Baltimore, if you remember, back in March for a leadership conference for a few days. And there was somebody there from that. And there are a couple other folks that I knew from other states and other affiliates that I got to see who I don't normally get to see other than at the national convention. So that was a lot of fun. Another place that I have been to, and between the traveling and the state convention, which I'll talk about in a sec, between those two things, it has just been, that's why it's been a month since I've recorded. I went to Johnstown, Pennsylvania, where they challenged the Chiefs, where Dave's a killer, and Dave is a mess. I went there to the Hiram G. Andrews Center, where they do all sorts of training for folks who are disabled. You don't have to be disabled to go there. You can pay your way, but usually OVR or one of those organizations within the state will pay for you to go there. Now, they had the OVR meeting there in early September, and I went there just to see the place because I've never been there. And I'm glad I went because the place is just incredible. 12 acres under roof. And the one thing that I didn't see there, pardon the pun, were blind people. They had all sorts of folks there. It is where the training for the BEP is going to ramp up sometime soon, I've been told. I've been told it's going to happen by the end of the year. I don't think it's going to happen by the end of the year, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's wait until December, and then we could say, I knew that wasn't going to happen. We'll wait and we'll see. And what an incredible place. But not only could they train blind people for the BEP there, they had other jobs that blind people could do if they were able to go to get the training there. So one of the things that we are going to try to do is to get the word out about some of the other programs there so the folks could try to get into these programs. They had medical coding classes and help desk for tech stuff, all sorts of stuff like that, which, again, blind people can do. Especially call center stuff is just something that a lot of blind folks do. I know in Philadelphia, years ago, I visited a call center where everybody is blind. And again, it's something that blind folks can do. And that's the biggest issue. Blind people, over 65% of blind folks are either underemployed or unemployed for a couple of reasons. People can't think they can dress themselves. So if they can't get dressed, how are they going to get to work? They can't come naked. And if they can't dress themselves, they certainly can't do this job, right? Just unreal. So it was great to get out there. Now, Johnstown is not right around the corner, and I basically connected with the NFBFPA president, Lynn Heights, and her husband in Harrisburg to then continue the journey out to Johnstown. There's one train a day that goes to Johnstown. It takes 6 hours or so from Philadelphia. And so the train to Harrisburg is only 2 hours. So I went to Harrisburg. Ray and Lynn picked me up from there, and then we did the other 2 hours from Harrisburg on to Johnstown, and we stayed overnight because that's not a one-day trip, because the meeting was from, I want to say 10 o'clock or 10:30 on the day until about 2:30 with a tour before the meeting. So again, it was great to see it, the dormitories that they have there, all sorts. They have a culinary thing going on there that we ate lunch with the Secretary of Labor and Industry, and she was asking about a few things. But one of the funniest things with that, her daughter also worked at Urban Outfitters. Now, I don't think she worked in the stores. I think she worked there during college, and then after college, in digital marketing. So she worked at the Navy Yard at their headquarters, where Jane, of course, worked in a store once she graduated high school. And then when she was at college in New York, she worked, it was right below her dorm the first year she was in college. She walked out one door, walked around the corner, not even a quarter of a block, and she walked into the Urban Outfitters there on Broadway in New York. So we talked about that and had a lot of other things to talk about. It was very cool that we got to have lunch with her. She was one of 6 at our table, and it was awesome to be there, to be with her, and the food was awesome. It was so good. So the folks who were going to school there for the culinary stuff, awesome. So I have no doubt that they would be folks that are going to go out and either open restaurants, work in restaurants, whatever it might be. So many great things there. They have a welding program there, just a lot of very cool things. So if you're in Pennsylvania and you are disabled one way or another, ask your OVR counselor, whether it's BBVS or one of the other organizations, to look into that if you want to get trained to do something else. Again, because it's a very cool place. Again, don't know how it's going to be for the blind folks once they finally get there to do the BEP training, but we'll see once that happens. Now, I had mentioned about the sunglasses, and I can't tell you, these are very old. I don't know how they look on me. Honestly, I don't care. If you don't care, I don't care. And if you're one of my followers who are blind, it doesn't matter to you. You're just on YouTube now instead of listening on the podcast. And I do appreciate you wherever you consume an episode, whether it's YouTube or via podcast. The lights, I have one to my immediate right, and I have one a little bit further away on, let's strike that and reverse it. If you're listening at home and not looking, I was pointing to my left when I said right to my immediate right. It is to my immediate left, and all the way on the right, a little bit further away is a light. I cannot even see the wall with the lights in my eyes. So I've been wanting to get a pair of sunglasses, and I looked around the house and I found these. I didn't want to wear the Ray-Ban Metas that I have are transitions, and the lights don't affect them. The sunlight makes them change, but these lights don't change them. So I couldn't wear them. And I'll get more into the Metas in a minute. So how do they look? Let me know down below. If you are a manufacturer of sunglasses and would like me to promote sunglasses on this podcast, please send me a pair. You can comment or private message me or email iCantCUpodcast@gmail.com and get in touch, and I'd certainly give them a try. So I do, it's just made a huge difference, because I now know that it's not just one giant glare in front of me. I can see difference. I can notice the difference. It's enough on my face now. The glasses are enough to block out enough of the light to make it comfortable for me. Every time as I mentioned in the last episode, every time I record, once I get done recording, I can't do anything that requires even the slightest bit of sight because I can't see anything. So that's usually when I do the dishes. I'm going to do the dishes after I record now too, but at least I will be able to see a little bit more than when I normally record. So let me know what you think with the sunglasses on. I hope it's not distracting, and I hope there's not a glare coming off them, because that's another issue that may be happening. Now, I mentioned the NFBF Pennsylvania State Convention. I am the chair for this event, and it has just been a whole bunch of work, which I've told you in the last episode, but it is doing many different things. For example, today I got a call from someone who needed help registering. So I registered them, basically just going to our website and doing it like if you went to nfbfpa.org/register, you could register yourself if you wanted to go. And you could go to nfbfpa.org/2025 if you wanted to learn all about the event. There's a link there where the meal choices are available, where you could see, hey, I want to get this, I don't want to get that. Pricing and everything is there. If you wanted the all-inclusive, that ship has sailed. You can't have that now. So I thought to myself today, as I'm registering this person, just as I was about to make lunch, why does it seem like all my time is going to the NFB stuff. And it's because I'm not only doing the website this year, I'm registering people. I'm not only doing the graphics for a lot of the things, I'm doing all these other things. I'm reaching out to sponsors. And if you would like to be a sponsor, please reach out to me. And if any amount, we would be glad to have you. And in a week or two, I'll have hopefully a couple of big announcements for some great sponsorships that we've received. I don't want to say anything until we have cash in hand, as they say, but we have a couple that it looks like it will be a great thing if everything gets finalized. And so I've been doing that, and I actually misread an email and I put something in the mail that needed to just be emailed down. So hopefully that doesn't mess anything up, but it's just a whole bunch of things that have taken me away from doing. And that's always what it seems to be. There's always something going on that takes me away. Now, I have to be honest. Last night, I needed to record an episode of Federation Focus. Last night was Sunday night. The Green Bay Packers were playing the Dallas Cowboys. I had players on both teams. I really didn't want Dallas to win, but if my guy scored the winning touchdown, I was okay. I was okay with that. It's fitting that it ended in a tie, and I have the Green Bay kicker too. So I had a running back on each team and the Green Bay kicker. So as I'm watching this game, I just wanted it to keep going because every time they had the ball, somebody would go down and score, touchdown, field goal, whatever. And as time was running out, I thought, I hope they don't win the game. I hope they tie the game. And they did. And it went into overtime. And then 2 more field goals, 1 for each team. Awesome. So I'm watching that, and that game ran long because it went into overtime and to the very end of overtime. I mean, they used the whole period. So I started doing that work late. And occasionally I say to myself, hey, you got to do this stuff, but I do need to take a break from things now and again because I can't just continually do this. And that's what I'm worried about. I'm looking forward to the convention coming and working really hard at that convention and up to that convention. But then come November 17th, the day after the convention ends, maybe within the next week. And you know what November 17th is, by the way? That's Ziggy's birthday. Maybe we'll get him a new giant pickle. We'll see. So I'm looking forward to that because then I know I can take my foot off the gas because it's been on the accelerator probably since January or February. And I know there's always going to be something going on that is going to need my attention. And it's going to be the website. I know already because we're having all sorts of issues because none of us know how to use it. Because we went from something that a few of us knew, even a little, WordPress, to Drupal and Civi CRM that have just been so difficult and so time consuming. For example, last year for the forms, I could easily put them in a spreadsheet with all the submissions and everything, and bing, bang, boom, it was done. I don't even know where I set up the registrations for the attendees, but I can't remember where to go to get it. It's just taken so much time. And I think I mentioned the last time, something that would have taken me to create a form, maybe 20 minutes or a half an hour. I spent 4 hours on, and it's still not right. So I'm just not sure. We've talked about going back to WordPress. That's how bad it's been. And that's how much time we've wasted on it. Now, there are some aspects that I like, but to me, it's just not worth it. I agree that all the affiliates, that's all the state affiliates of the national organization, the National Federation of the Blind of PA, the National Federation of the Blind of Nebraska, wherever. I agree that they should have a similar look and feel. But it has just taken, you've gone, WordPress basically runs around 45% of all the websites in the world. Drupal, where we've moved to, 2%. There are some big names there, but for the most part, it's just not as easy for us to use. It is just not as easy to find somebody that knows how to work with it. And I've been working with folks on Upwork to try and get a solution for a couple of forms that I have not been able to do. We thought we were going to be able to bring our mailing list from MailChimp into Civi CRM. We haven't even done that yet because we don't know how to use it. And there just hasn't been a minute to learn. And it's just frustrating. So that's taken a lot of time. So I am looking forward, like I said, November 17th, Ziggy's birthday, when we're eating cake, and he's going to eat a different cake than the one Liz and I are going to eat, because Liz made a cake once for Zamboni that seemed and smelled delicious, but tasted horrible. Had all normal human ingredients, but in different proportions. Zammy loved it. We did not. So I don't know what she's going to do. What if we're going to get Ziggy some sort of little treat? His stomach is still not right. So, we try not to give him too much food, although we've gotten a little off of that lately. And he loves tomatoes, by the way, and any sort of bread. So linguine would have been the perfect name, as I mentioned last time. So I'm looking forward to the end of November when it kind of slows down. And I know that coming up in December, we have the Blind Merchants Christmas party. It's going to be in Philadelphia this year, so it's not a long distance away. I can take an Uber to and from and come home that night and sleep in my own bed and not have to worry about travel or the hotel expense. So that'll be nice. But again, another event where I'll be really busy because we have an auction at it, and sometimes the Wi-Fi works to take payments, sometimes it doesn't. So it's usually a crapshoot with that. But once we get past the convention, I am so looking forward to just a little bit of downtime with everything NFB related, because it really has consumed my life. And you can ask Liz, she's probably not too happy with the amount of time that I'm spending, and not just at the affiliate level. So just to recap, if you're not familiar with the way the NFB works, the NFB has 3 levels. There's the national level, which many folks within the national level serve at the affiliate level. So someone might be the president in Utah, for example. That's a good example because he's in our Blind Guillotine League, and I'll maybe talk about that in a minute. So he's the president of the NFB of Utah, but he also serves as the second vice president of the national organization. So a lot of folks who are at the national level serve in the affiliate level as well, and sometimes also at the chapter level. So national, affiliate, and again, there's 52 affiliates of the National Federation of the Blind, all 50 states, plus DC and Puerto Rico. And then within the affiliates, there are chapters. I'm in the Keystone chapter. I'm the treasurer of the Keystone chapter. And there are, depending on the state, how many chapters there may be. It varies. In Pennsylvania, there are 8 or 10 chapters and a couple of divisions. Divisions and chapters are a little bit different. Chapters are kind of geographically situated. So in Philadelphia, there's the Keystone chapter and the Greater Philadelphia chapter. But close by, there's the Brandywine Valley chapter and the Greater Lehigh Valley chapter, and so forth. With a division, like the Blind Merchants division, that has folks from all around the state. It's not at the affiliate level, but it's different from the chapter level because of that. In the Keystone chapter, most folks come from Philadelphia County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, and Bucks County. For the merchants, we have people from Pittsburgh and Erie and all sorts of other places around Pennsylvania. So not only, as I said, am I busy at the affiliate level, I'm busy at the chapter level with the Keystone chapter. We are planning to be at an event in October that we don't have a tablecloth for our exhibit table. And we thought, well, it would be nice to have that. We have some money, so we're going to get a tablecloth. Well, who designed it? I did. Fingers are crossed it comes out okay. I had to have Liz take a look at it because I wasn't sure it was centered. I wasn't sure if it was correct. And maybe it's not. I still haven't gotten the proof back yet. I'm hoping to have the proof back at some point either today or tomorrow. So today, as I'm recording this now, it is after midnight. So it is the 30th of September. So I'm hoping 30th of September, 1st of October, I have the proof. Hopefully it's good. And then I can sign off on it and it gets made and I have it in time for the event. If not, we'll run to the store and we will buy just a plain old tablecloth that doesn't have our logo on it. And the logo for the tablecloth that we ordered is a Keystone Chapter logo, which the NFB logo, the national logo, it is a circle of folks with white canes that looks like a flower. Each individual person, they're called Who's-Its. Not sure why, but that's what they're named. That's what we call them. Who's-Its. So there's that circle, and then it says National Federation of the Blind, and then live the life you want. Pennsylvania logo is the exact same, except under of the blind, it says Pennsylvania, and then live the life you want. And then at the chapter or division level, it has all of that. So of National Federation of the Blind, Pennsylvania, and then on an arc above the text, not above the flower, but above the text, it says Keystone Chapter or Greater Lehigh Valley Chapter or whatever it might be. Merchants, it would say blind merchants or something like that. So I had to do that. And there are other things at the chapter level that I do as well. I buy the donuts, for example. That's very important because that really is something that, and I've mentioned this a while back, we were talking to someone who was higher up in leadership at the national level. And when we asked him, what got you involved in the NFB? He said, I was invited to a meeting and I was told there'd be coffee and donuts. And that got him in. And this guy is incredible. He was the editor of the Braille Monitor, which is the monthly publication of the National Federation of the Blind. It is the flagship publication. It is their biggest thing. I don't remember how many subscribers they have. It's thousands and thousands. 30,000 or 35,000, I think. I don't remember. A lot for a specific group of folks. And it's available in 18 different ways. Audio, Braille, large print, whatever. You can get it just about any way you want it, even in Spanish as well. So when I heard that, it validated, because I started doing that after we came out of COVID. We wanted to get away from doing Zoom because the people that come in on Zoom, and I know that it helps us reach other folks that maybe couldn't come to a meeting. But the problem with Zoom is those folks aren't as committed typically as the folks who show up in person. So to get folks in, I started bringing donuts. It's been about a year, I guess. And it has helped. And there are meetings that we have 15 people. We haven't had anywhere back in the day before COVID. There would be meetings where we would have people sitting on the floor in the place that we were at now. The place that we're at now, the Penn Museum, there's enough chairs so people aren't going to have to sit on the floor. Now, as we go further into October and more travel and more state convention stuff, I will be in Pittsburgh from the 12th to the 14th at an event. The organization is called Patton. They do assistive technology for school-age kids up to 21. They're having an event in Pittsburgh. They have 3 each year. They have one in their Pittsburgh office, one in their Harrisburg office, and one in their Philadelphia office, which isn't in Philadelphia. It's in Malvern. So I'm going to Pittsburgh on the 12th and coming back on the 14th. I'll also be in New York City at Laugh for Sight. So if you're in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York area and you want to go to a great night of comedy, Laugh for Sight is October 27th. It's the final Monday in October, the 27th. Tickets are at laughforsight.com/tickets. So go check that out. I know Rich Voss and Bonnie McFarlane are going to be performing. There's a bunch of other folks there I don't know that I've ever seen before, but I've seen Bonnie and Rich are husband and wife. Rich, sometimes you can catch on the Gutfeld Show on Fox News Channel. I've not seen Bonnie on TV, but they are both very funny. Bonnie had gone on and was talking about how dumb her husband was and so forth and so on and carrying on about it. And I don't remember if he was next or if he was a couple behind her. And he said, "Oh, did you like my wife? My wife was Bonnie McFarland." And that just made it even funnier. The fact that he's obviously right there and she is saying all those things. So I'm looking forward to that and get to see my friend Brian and some other folks who I don't get to see a lot, and Ed, and hopefully Mike Walsh from Blind Travel Foundation will be there. I was texting with him quite a bit today about his website. So that's the only travel I have at this point. I will be in the Lehigh Valley on the 10th for the Greater Lehigh Valley fundraiser, Dancing in the Dark to be Dancing in the Light. That is a huge fundraiser for them. They make a lot of money with that and does a lot of good things for the Lehigh Valley blind folks. And on the 6th, I will be going to a Lions Club meeting in Willow Grove and speaking about how their help has helped the Keystone chapter help kids at St. Lucy's and all the other things that we do in the Keystone chapter. And the Lions Club in Willow Grove has been very, very kind and generous to the Keystone chapter. So I was happy to go. So I do have some travel plans coming up. And again, when you are blind, for me to get to Willow Grove, Liz is not taking me because I've got to leave and get up there before she'll even be home from school. So it's a long turnaround. It is probably an hour and change on the train and then a 10 or 15 minute Uber ride from the train station. Even if I were to just take an Uber, it's probably the time I'd be going, it would probably take me an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. And it would be, I checked the cost. It was crazy expensive. So I wasn't, I wasn't going to do that. So I'll be there on the 6th, talking at the Lions Club, Lehigh Valley on the 10th, Pittsburgh on the 12th and 13th, coming home on the 14th, and New York City on the 27th. Wow, I sound like I'm going to be busy. And then there's the convention stuff too. So hopefully there's no other there's no other fires to put out. I hope that I get to speak with you again before the end of October, but we'll see how that goes. But for now, I really do appreciate you joining me for this episode of iCantCU. Please, in the comments below, let me know what you think about me wearing the sunnies while I'm talking to you. I know it's not really that cool, but I'm telling you, it's awesome. It's comfort-wise, it is great for me. Let me know in the comments. If you want to connect with me, at David Benj on all the socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, Blue Sky. There might be one more. Might be forgetting one, but those places are the big ones. So please connect with me. If you have questions, comments, show ideas, please reach out. iCantCUpodcast@gmail.com, iCantCUpodcast@gmail.com, or better yet, give me a call. 646-926-6350. You've got up to 3 minutes. Leave your name and town if you do leave a voicemail. Oh, and I almost forgot. I went to the Phillies game on Sunday, yesterday. Well, it's now not yesterday, but on Sunday, the last game of the year, Fan Appreciation Day. Liz had a student in her class last year whose dad is the head trainer for the team. So their year-end gift was a gift card and tickets to the Phillies game. So tickets and parking were all covered. Best of all, live audio through the Ballpark app, the MLB Ballpark app. Now, the only issue I had was getting it to work, first of all, because you have to sign in as a guest, and I couldn't quite do that on my own, so I needed help from guest services. Part of my problem was I had my Ray-Bans on, and I couldn't hear where the button was to sign in as a guest. But once that was done, I put my sunglasses away, the Ray-Bans away, and I just put earbuds in, and I listened. The only other issue was there are 40 some odd thousand people there, and you joined the Wi-Fi network at the ballpark. So here's the 2-2 pitch. And then I didn't know what happened because the signal dropped. I had to say, Liz, what happened? Was it a ball? Was it a strike? What happened? And that happened a few times. There were even a couple more times where it didn't come back on. I would have to open the app and then double tap, continue listening or something like that. But otherwise, it was so close to live. And again, I know it's not going to be perfect because it's got to get from the microphone through everything and then into the internet and then into my phone and then into my ears. So I could tell, especially when music was playing, it was just off no more than a second, but probably about half a second. It was awesome. So if you've been to a game or you're going to a game, use the MLB Ballpark app. I don't know if it works in every city, but if you're in another city, and I know the season's over, but if you're going to the playoffs, check it out. Again, the MLB Ballpark app, listen live. You do have to check in as a guest. So if you do that, please reach out either via email or via phone, 646-926-6350. Again, you've got 3 minutes. Leave your name and town. If you do leave a voicemail, I'd love to hear from you, especially if you have an especially great comment about my sunglasses, or you've used the MLB Ballpark app to listen live while you're at the stadium. It was awesome. I'm telling you, that was so good. Not good enough to go more than a few times a year to a game because it's expensive to go if I have to pay for the tickets and all that sort of thing. And it's just not as enjoyable as it was when I had a little bit more sight. But it was good to be out there with Liz, and I will put a picture up in the video of Liz and I at the game from the outfield. Our seats were in the sun. We melted practically from the hot day that it was on Sunday, but we were glad that we went, and we do appreciate getting those tickets and everything else covered except for our food. And that was okay that we only had to buy that. But again, I do appreciate you listening. Show notes are available over on the website, iCantCU.com/290, iCantCU.com/290, numerically speaking. And remember, iCantCU sounds like a whole sentence, but it's only 7 characters long. iCantCU.com/290. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you. Take care.
Thank you for joining David on this episode of I Can't See You. Please subscribe on your favorite platform. Like and comment on this episode on YouTube.